Hey y'all. So, as promised, today I said something about telling a story about my alien encounter when I was living in my childhood home that I grew up in Altadena, California. And I'm coming on as promised to tell my story. Um, I'm going to start with I'm not crazy, but I'm just going to tell the story and I'm going to get started. Okay. Sorry if I mess up a little bit. I'm not used to doing this kind of stuff. I'm trying to get used to not saying sorry too. I apologize. So, back in the year of 2011, I was living in Altadena, California. And the house that I grew up in just so happened to be flanked to JPL, which is Jet Propulsion Labs. And you guys know what Jet Propulsion Labs is. It's related to NASA, and they do the seismic sizing for the earthquakes and everything like that. They deal with all the rovers and everything that go in outer space. Anyways, there's a lot of stuff that JPL is responsible for. But yes, I lived there, and this was the one on the one side of Woodbury Road. If you know Pasadena, you know where Woodbury Road is. And there's another part of JPL that's over close to a very popular spot that a lot of paranormal activity investigators like to go to. It's called Devil's Gate Dam, which is related to Parsons, Crawley, and there is L. Ron Hubbard. But anyways, this place that I lived in had a lot of activity, if you know what I mean. I don't want to sound crazy, but experienced a lot there, just put it that way, in my own childhood home. But I will stick to this story. Sorry, I have incense smoke going. I love incense smoke. Don't you guys love it? Because I love anything mystical or fun or, you know, it's just wonderful to me. Anyways, on to the story. I don't want to lose track. On one particular night in this house, I had an experience. At the time, we had a Pomeranian by the name of Chelsea, who we've lost, and I love her very much. And she sometimes would come lay on my chest at night. And on this particular night, she was on my chest. And she was a very gentle dog, so she didn't do a lot of barking and a lot of, being one of those malicious dogs, vicious dog. But I was half asleep, half in a state of sleep, half in a state of awake. And I started to hear her growl. And I woke up and I saw her canines. And I'm like, she's showing her canines, so there's something over here. So I kind of turned my head slowly, still groggy and half asleep. And I look at my wall and I see something forming. And it is what seems to appear to be what they call the alien grays. Only you would imagine they would be really short, but this one was very tall and slender. And my dog was growling at it. And it was just standing there for a moment, and I caught it. I didn't see its eyes at that moment, but I saw it, and I know it saw me because I could feel that it saw me. And it just took off in the house. The dog took off after it, and I was like, oh no, hell no, this thing is not going to get my dog. So I ran. I started thinking about alien abductions and stuff, with the cows and all that stuff like that. Anyhow, back to the lecture at hand. I go to the living room where the dog is, and it seems like time just froze. You know how when you're watching a movie and you hear something go, and then everything's just moving in slow motion or kind of freezing in space and just, kind of just levitating. It seemed like that, and it seemed like the sound went out in my ears, and the dog was barking, but she was standing on a little couch. We had a little pillow couch like on the bottom. She was standing on that, and she was barking, and I couldn't hear her anymore. I just went completely deaf. She went out. So I look up and I see this being, and I get a good look at it. And then all of a sudden I'm pushed down to one knee, it has a hand on my shoulder, And I'm looking at it and I can't move. I have like what they call the sleep paralysis type thing, but I'm wide awake. And I look up at it and I'm studying it. And I'm looking, and the skin is metallic and kind of looks like what's that color called, iridescent colors, and it's moving and it looks like scales. And then I look at it and it kind of gives me this look like, and it stares at me and the eyes are big like a black abyss. And I'm like crying now. I feel the tears running down my face, but I can't move, I can't speak, I can't do anything. And it's almost like it was a transferal of energy between me and this being. And to make a long story short, all of a sudden I blacked out, and when I woke up and came to, the dog started barking again. Everything started coming back in. The sound of the refrigerator, the sound of, you know, fans moving in the house and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, the dog is barking again. I'm able to get up. So I slowly got up off of my knees and I'm just kind of gathering myself. And I'm like, oh my God, what just happened? So the dog still calms. She calms down. She lays down. And I'm like, you okay? And blah, blah, blah. So I go to the window and I look out, and the whole street is dark, pitch black. When I say pitch black, the street lights were out. And there was this big craft flying across the sky. And it was beautiful. It reminded me of First Encounters of the Third Kind, but it took up most of the sky, and there were lights all on the bottom, like there was a city on the bottom of this whole craft that was just flying. And I just started crying. And I was like, what just happened? And before this, I did not even believe that aliens existed. So this made a strong believer out of me. And I know that I lived close to those, you know, places that are monumentally known as, or famously known as, very high activity places like JPL and Devil's Gate Dam. I'm going to get into the story about Devil's Gate Dam because that's a really interesting story. I'll do that in another video on another day when I'm feeling like I want to talk. I hope this video was good. I hope it finds everybody well. Getting out of my shell and really want to talk, you know, about things and experiences that I have. I have a lot of interesting stories. But yeah, I just want everybody to be blessed and, you know, be safe and don't get abducted. And I hope you like my video. If you do, please give me a comment. Let me know what you thought, and enjoy the rest of your evening and the rest of your week ahead. Thank you for watching, TikTokers.